matters concerning local government. And we asked one of our reporters to attend. We had some questions we believe were necessary to be answered, because those answers, we believe, would give Jamaicans a broader perspective of the PNP's thinking around NARA and their reaction to their colleagues speaking in the way they did. Predictably, the answers to the questions deviated, the response to the questions deviated and devolved into the attack on Nationwide that is commonplace. I think it's necessary to share with you a few of the questions that we felt would have assisted the public with understanding the PNP's reaction to what their colleagues said, and which was published last week, Monday. Some of the questions that we had for the PNP. Name the individuals in the voice notes. 1. Is one of the voices, if they had named Mario Mitchell as one of them, we would then ask them to state what position Mario Mitchell holds in the party on any party committee. And if, as we have reported, he was recently voted to the executive with the highest number of votes, we felt those were questions that they needed to answer as well. We wanted them to answer and declare if the comments made in the recordings that we played, if those comments are to be condemned, and if so, will those comrades gathered at that press conference on Tuesday be so obliging as to condemn them, since the opposition leader didn't do so when he had the chance on Sunday? We asked if they feel that the voice notes compromise the PNP's ability to advocate for better use of resources as they critique and criticize the operationalization of NARA. And we wanted to ask if disciplinary action had been taken against the individuals in the voice notes. So those were some of the questions we wanted to ask. Chevron managed to get a couple of questions in before the PNP decided that, we were shutting it down and moving on. But what happened yesterday and what we got is worthy of examination. And King, the video is not long, where it concerns that section of the press conference where Chevron had the floor and was asking questions. Nickiesha Burchell was the one responding. Here's that exchange.
Okay, this is a tangent question, actually. In relation to this call about transparency and accountability, there is the matter of the leaked PNP voice notes. Have the officers of the party identified the individuals in question, and have those individuals faced any level of punishment, disciplinary action, and would you condemn what was suggested on those voice notes by those members, who I believe one was a councillor who suggested that through the local authorities they would essentially obfuscate or try to delay any aspects of NARA that could be of a benefit to the same people who you suggest should get benefits today?
Okay, well, the leader of the opposition spoke on this on Sunday. I believe you would have been privy to what he shared. what our internal workings have been is not for the public discussion in terms of how we are speaking with those who are in those conversations. What I think is instructive is that a certain media house decided to publish select voice notes from a chat they had access to, a private chat, and refused to share the other positions that were more in keeping with our stated public position. But we've become accustomed to the media house in question being very deliberate and skewed in how they report. But our position has been stated by the leader of the opposition, and we will not be speaking further on that topic.
So you don't believe what was said deserves some level of condemnation, because Mr. Golding did address it, but he did not condemn what was said in those voice notes, only to suggest that it is not the official position of the People's National Party.
Well, Mr. Golding is not here today for you to ask him further about his position, and so...
Which is why I'm asking your position, as in,
Well,
would you
as-
condemn what was suggested in that voice note?
As I've said, the leader of the opposition has stated our position on that topic, and that's the extent to which we're going to be speaking about that.
Good morning to Natalie Nita Garvey for using her face to tell 3,000 words over the right shoulder of Miss Burchell. But here's the thing. Rather than front up to this issue, what we saw was an attempt to blame media, to blame a certain media house, I wonder which one that is, for publishing the comments. The opposition leader didn't condemn the comments on Sunday. Those gathered yesterday, including the one who commanded the floor, Ms. Burchell, did not condemn the comments, did not try to condemn the comments. But a fire was set, a fire was lit, and a certain media house was held over the fire for roasting. So the important thing for the PNP in this moment is to point out we have been victimized as PNP because these messages containing the authentic voices of officers of the party speaking the way they did, talking about besmirching the character of a gentleman, talking about delaying and employing delay tactics for something as important as NARA. That's not the injury, that's not the evil. That's not the fly in the ointment. The fly in the ointment is the media house who got hold of those voice notes and which chose to share them with the public. And she went further. She said we had access to their private WhatsApp chat. Yesterday at production meeting, we looked around in the newsroom and said, oh, which of you among us, is the question I asked, has that access? And there was incredulity as people looked around and said, what? In the moment, people forget how media works. From the time media began, centuries ago, people have been getting information from people connected to a movement, connected to a group, who may disapprove of what the group is saying or doing and wants the public to know. And they share such information with media they trust to handle the information properly, because you could get something like this and mishandle it. And that's what happened. So the claim that the radio station, and it's us of course, had access to their private WhatsApp chat as if we infiltrated it, clearly that's balderdash. What is also balderdash-esque is the claim that we cherry-picked which voice notes to play, as if they know that, we had access to everything And we only chose to play the only two bad ones, which is what she was saying, effectively. And also that we refused to play the ones that reflect the PNP's public comments on Nara. Refused means that we would have been asked by an entity or an officer of the party to share those publicly. And we said, no, we're not. Nobody has asked us to do that, and they couldn't ask us because we don't have any more. We played what we had. So to say that the media host refused to play the ones that reflect well on the PNP is, as I have described it, balderdash. Ms. Burchell said that in trying to dodge the question, that it was instructive that certain media hosts played some of the voice notes, or the voice notes that made the PNP look bad. But then again, it's in keeping with how this media house does its business, and skewed, she used the word skewed. Ms. Burchell, it's an oxymoron though, Mom. To say something is instructive means that you're getting new information or you're getting confirmation of facts. So how can it be instructive that the media house did this, yet you say, yeah, but this is in keeping with how the media house does things? No, that's oxymoronic. It doesn't make sense. Then you say we skewed. So listen to the charges, The questions were, are you going to condemn? Do you think you need to seek to assure the Jamaican people that you're not saboteurs? Those questions were dodged, and instead we got a slightly bellicose response, attacking the media house that published the stories. The energy was misdirected. The opportunity was wasted. And when you say we skewed the thing, it suggests that in that conversation of bonhomie and love for the country that was being had in that WhatsApp group, and we picked only those ones and we published them. Well, all right, Ms. Burchell, here's what you do. Publish the full thing. You have it. You have the messages. You have more voice notes. Since you're accusing us of skewing the conversation, skewing the perception, cherry picking what to play, and since you have it all, publish everything and let the country decide.